time is now 5:30. I'll call the October 12th meeting of Lawrence County Council to order. We will begin with an invocation by Ms. Anderson, followed by the pledge of allegiance by our newest elected councilwoman.
Let us pray together. Our Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening, asking that you be with us as we discuss the needs, the concerns of the citizens of Lawrence County. We ask a special blessing on these United States. It is you who have made us, and not we ourselves. So create in us a clean heart that we may be about the business that you have assigned our hands to do. We ask forgiveness of our many sins and keep us mindful of your goodness. And when we leave this place, this destination, we ask that you be with each of us as we return to our designated home, and that when we get there, we'll find all is well. Your servant prayer. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening and welcome. First up is the approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? Not, I'll call for a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Rankin, second by Ms. Clark. All those in favor of approval of the agenda as written, please raise your right hand. All right, next we have approval of the minutes from the September 28th regular session. We have a motion for approval of the minutes from September 28th.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Mr. Rankin, second by Mr. Carroll. Are there any additions or deletions to the minutes? Here none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. All right, so we don't have any reports to council this evening, so we will move to old business. Do any council members have any new appointments? Hearing none, we will move on to second reading of ordinance number 910. I'll call on Mr. Crookshanks.
Mr. Chairman, we are still, my office is still working through a lot of the revisions, trying to make sure we're preparing existing ordinances that are already on the books, make sure we're not duplicating anything or contradicting anything, plus some grammatical things that we were working through this afternoon. We hope to have the cleaned up and final version whenever council wants to move forward with third reading on it. But that's kind of where we are now, is making the edits and changes and changing some page numbers and, just minor things like that. But the cross check, we have not finished the cross check yet, but that's kind of where it stands right now. As far as second reading, I don't have any problem with council going forward with second.
All right, you've heard the recommendation, Mr. Crookshanks. Is there a motion to approve on second reading ordinance number 910?
Motion to approve on second reading.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Carroll, second by Ms. Anderson. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I would just like to say once again, I appreciate the planning commission working hard on this, and Mr. Crookshanks, you and your staff coming through it to make sure everything's good to go. Hearing no discussion, I will call for the vote for second reading approval of ordinance 910, the revised subdivision ordinance. Please raise your right hand. 7-0. All right, next I'll call on for request on some power load lists.
to introduce you to Deputy Coroner Robert Morse as he presents some concerns that we're having in the coroner's office. And we'll have a short video, I think maybe a minute and a half.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, council. What we're looking at, just to give you a quick background, in about the last month or so, I've had the pleasure, I guess you would say, or what you want to call it, of answering the call where we had at least 4 people that we had to load in our truck that was in excess of 400 pounds. One was in excess of 500 pounds. And quite honestly, it's very difficult the way we're having to do it now with the current setup that we have. What we would like to look at is basically the same system that EMS is using. It's called a power load by Stryker, which is the same company that EMS uses. And this system, we have 2 proposals for you here tonight from them. One is an upgrade, which would take our current stretchers, which are probably 12, 15 years old, from what I understand. Some of them are like an 06 and 07 models, but we ran the serial numbers. That's what they told me. But to upgrade those with the power lift would run all 3 for 3 vehicles, would run us about $83,353. On the other hand, if we wanted to get a whole brand new system, we're talking with the new stretchers and everything, and these things should last us a long time because we're not using them quite as much as EMS would. So with proper maintenance and servicing like we should, they should last a good long time. But 3 of those systems with the new stretchers and everything would be $129,490. In comparison, there is one other company that I've gotten a quote from, and their system, which they don't have the maintenance set up, I don't think, that Stryker has. But what they had to offer was about $31,000 per stretcher. So 3 of those would be a little over, or would be over $90,000, $94,000. But like I said, the Stryker is one that EMS uses. You know, if we went with that company for any reason, there was any need to work with EMS or whatever, you know, we had those things interchangeable. We have a little short video if y'all would like to see that stretcher in operation. Would y'all like to see that? Rossi, can you play that for us, please? It's about a little over a minute, just to give you a quick version of how it works and let you see why, you know, we got to, you know, on the stretcher. Shows them taking it out of the ambulance here. Right now, currently, we would be having to hold that end up as we pull them out. So we would have to hold that end up while we do it. As you can see, that would make it a whole lot easier. And, you know, I know this is a lot of money for that setup and for that system. You know, when you look at the fact of, you know, one person trying to, you know, move with these people and they get a back injury, we can take 1 or 2 back injury claims to pay for this system. So that's when we present that to y'all. Any questions or anything I could answer?
From the council members.
How many transports do we do annually from the coroner's office?
So far this year, I think the number is at 616 or 617.
Transports.
Yeah. Now, transports would be probably close to about half of that.
I was, the ask was for 3, that would outfit 3 full vehicles, but you had one that was fully equipped that way for your patients of size, and then some that weren't quite so much that would meet the other. Would that make a positive impact, or? I mean, you can ask for all of them, but I don't know what we can put into.
Yeah, the only thing is we don't always know the size until we get there. That's the only drawback of that. We have to wait. It's, you know, if we didn't have the truck with us with that system in, we'd have to call somebody to bring it. That would be the only thing.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, are y'all the first responder on all these, or is there a fire department or EMS? A lot of times they're there first, they could give you an idea of what the patient size is.
They could, if they, you know, if they give us a call, they let us know that.
I'm Patty, Chief Deputy Coroner. The fire departments are getting to where they don't want to help us lift them because they're saying they're getting older, they don't want to hurt themselves. When we get to the hospital, there are only one person, that's us. The security is saying that they're telling them not to help us anymore. So we're only one person having to lift that heavy stretcher with that amount of weight. So it's really putting us in danger and risk the chance of the patient falling or the deceased falling on the ground. And we don't want that to happen either.
Agree with Jeff here. I look at this as a budgeted item. And if I'm not mistaken, we gave you all a vehicle just in our last budget. And we are just only 4 months out in the budget. And I'm just a stickler for certain things, and certain things should be in a budgeted item. But I empathize with you with having to lift, but I feel like we can do something to help you out, but I really don't feel like we should be paying $127 an hour contingency fund to do that. I don't know how right now we can help you, but I really feel like we need to work on something to help you, because that is a hard job in lifting. And maybe you need to do the rest of it when it comes time for the budget. Because we looking at the budget now, everything is getting a little bit pricier than what it used to be. And so we have to make sure we're looking at on down the road where some things they are already coming in over what we have budgeted. And I think this is just too large of an item for us just to purchase at this time. Now, that's me talking now. And I feel like we need to do something to help you, and maybe we could outfit one item, one thing or something to make it easy on you. But I just can't see us getting 3 and going with the $129,000. I just can't.
Let me ask to piggyback on top of that. I do agree with Anderson, the full ask is, I'll talk loud. I do think the full ask is a lot, sure, feedback, there we go. However, there was a piece in here about from the name BioCare,
Yes, sir.
where they would transport at $300 per body. While I don't know that we need that for every single body we transport, which would still only be about what would be 90,000 a year, which isn't horrible. But if we could potentially use them for the larger patients, that might be an option until budget time. And then I think Mr. Higgs would be excited to work with you to see if we could work that into the budget for next year. Would that be doable for the time being? If we found a way to allocate the use of BioCare for you pick the number, whether that's 250, 300, 400, y'all decide where that number needs to be, and then we can authorize at the next council meeting, anybody over that weight, you can call BioCare and we can work on a line item in the budget between now and next meeting, if that would be amicable with y'all.
I think we're looking for anything to help us out at this time.
Right, and that would protect y'all. for
Whatever
sure.
y'all can do to help us, that would be greatly appreciated.
And then any other council member have any questions, comments?
I have a couple comments, Chairman.
What's been a chance? One's better than nothing, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
That bill.
I guess my only concern with one, Mr. Carroll asked the question, if you get a call and Reno, and the person that has the truck with the power lift system is sitting all the way on the other side of the county, it could be hours just at 3 a.m. to get the stretcher over to use it. That would be my only concern with that. Unless y'all had your vehicles more than I, but that's a strong possibility. It could be on opposite ends of the county. I imagine.
Right.
That'd be my only concern with only outfitting one, is it's gonna end up, every time it's gonna be in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And
Mr. Chairman,
sometimes we have 3 or 4 at a time, like we did last week. We had 2 patients that weighed over 400 pounds at the same time. So Robin took one and I took one. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, I'm remembering my very first job where my boss man, who used to be chairman of this county council, decided that the boxes were cheaper if you bought them to take 100 pounds rather than 50. And I had the pleasure of throwing those boxes around, and I was 24 years old. I didn't like it. And that's a lot less than 300 and 200 and those kind of numbers. And those are numbers that people ought not to be having. In a physical kind of way. There may be some leveraging techniques and stuff like that, but we shouldn't be leading an organization that requires our people to handle 400 pounds. That's just way too much.
anybody else? Would anybody like to make a motion at this time?
I'd like to make a motion that the coroner's office work with the administrator to see how we can help you and make sure you bring it back to our next meeting to see if we can do something to help you out there. I know that's not going home with what you want to hear, but it's just that I really feel like we need to be as frugal as possible and making sure we provide what you need also.
Is that a form of motion, or can y'all handle that without a motion?
That's a form of a motion.
Okay, we'll take it.
That's
We have a motion on the table. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Clark. Is there any further discussion? Here tonight, I agree with Ms. Anderson's motion. If y'all work with Mr. Higgs between now and next meeting. And I do believe, I think the best option for the current budget year is going to be BioCare. And that too, that even relieves weight, because even though you get them in the truck easy, you still have to drag the gurney across the yard. And around here, not anybody's got asphalt driveways. So let's look at that BioCare, and then as we proceed into the next budget year, we can look back at the strikers, but the BioCare might even be more of a financial option that would take some pressure off of you too, and your staff and everything else. So let's.
He did say that he would come down here and present his company, because they provide everything, workers' comp, insurance, a truck to come here in Lawrence County, so their response time was just quick.
All right, good. Assuming this motion passes, we'll let you work with Mr. Diggs and work that out for the next meeting. With all that being said, I'll call for the motion. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. And thank you for all you do.
Appreciate it.
All right, next I will call on Council Member Luke Rankin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for being here tonight. I want to start off by saying that I believe every voice should be heard. And over the past few months, I've encountered many citizens who have expressed legitimate concern about the integrity of the November 3rd, 2020 election. Those concerns have led many to doubt whether they will participate in future elections, as they fear that their vote will not matter or even count. And that's a very scary place to be. So to restore the integrity of our elections moving forward, I've drafted a resolution calling on the South Carolina legislature to conduct a forensic audit of the 2020 election. Whether or not we believe that an audit would uncover fraudulent activity in our state is not the point here. This is about restoring the people's trust in our process. Every Democrat, Republican, and Independent should be interested in making sure that the people we represent have full confidence in our elections. On a side note, I do want to mention and make sure I point out that we do have the best elections commission in the state of South Carolina, led by an incredible woman named Lynn West, who is here tonight. And I just want to thank you and your team for all that you do. But people don't know. People don't really know what these people do in their office every day. And I had a great privilege of sitting down with Ms. Lynn West today and just kind of discussing what I've been hearing from my constituents. And they are just as supportive for full transparency as anyone I've ever met. So again, this is about restoring the integrity of our elections. Because unfortunately, whether or not we agree with what happened, our integrity in the elections have fallen off. And the only way to restore that, in my opinion, is to do an audit just to clear the air, let people know what really happened. And that's what I brought here tonight. So I'm going to read the resolution I have drafted. It states that whereas the bedrock of our republic rests on the integrity of our elections, whereas it is essential for the integrity of our elections to be strong in order for South Carolinians and all citizens of the United States of America to have full confidence in the validity of their vote. Whereas the process by which elections are conducted are paramount to the rule of law. Whereas citizens have the right to participate in elections on an equal basis with other citizens. Whereas citizens exercising their right to vote are guaranteed freedom from interference and fraud. Whereas transparency and integrity of the election process is a necessary requirement for the continuation and function of our government. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Lawrence County Council supports the South Carolina Legislature to conduct forensic audits into the 2020 election, including but not limited to mail-in ballots, witness signatures, drop boxes, how data is processed, stored, and transferred into ES&S voting machines, and any other election irregularities. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You've heard the statement by Mr. Rankin. Would you like to make a motion while you have the floor?
Yes, sir. I would like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we pass the resolution for election integrity, calling on the South Carolina Legislature to conduct a forensic audit of the 2020 election.
You've heard the motion by Mr. Rankin, second by Mr. Yance. Is there any discussion?
Yes, sir. Integrity means being honest. We just held an election. It's just probably in November, which is next month, will be a year. During the 2020 elections, I was elected. Luke Rankin was elected. David Tribble was elected. And Garrett McVaney. We had a process to go through to win it, and I'm thanking each one of us. I know David, Luke, and myself. We had opponents. We went through the process, and after the process was finished, if we had to appeal it, we had a process to go through. Nobody went through the process. They felt like they were happy with the results. So we're in those states. We took the oath and we're in the states. So if 2020 is illegal for one person, it's illegal for all of us. And I think that Ms. West is a fantastic registrar. But I realize that other 46 counties got a person just like Lynn. And they went through the process and they felt like it was done properly too. So I disagree with us taking money or even recommending that somebody look into the 2020 election. Everybody is getting ready for the 22. And that's your state legislator along with the governor and 3 other members on this council, Mr. Young, Mr. Patterson, and Mr. Carroll. And I just think this is ridiculous. It's divisive. And I just think we need to move forward. We don't have time for this. We're in a democracy. We took a pledge of allegiance for one nation under God. we doing? I've almost gotten, so I can't even look at the news hardly because all we hear is somebody else's opinion. We got to think enough to be able to discriminate between the facts and somebody's opinion. We don't live off of, I don't live off of your opinion and you don't live off of mine. We go with facts. And I don't think our council need to be doing anything like this. We got any money to use any money for. We need to be doing something for the homeless, somebody who do not have any insurance, and there's some money to be used in the proper way. And I don't know who think that they didn't get to vote correctly. I don't know anybody. Nobody had come to me and told me they felt bad about voting. But if somebody feel like that, that's okay. But I think it's inappropriate. I think it's unnecessary. I think it's divisive. And I don't feel like we need to be about this. We are a policy-making body, and we are not here to make resolutions regarding voting because we do not have any say-so over. We do not even hire Ms. West. Our delegation hired her and also put the representatives on the board. Only thing we do is pay because they are giving you a service. And every service that Lawrence County citizens receive, we have to pay for it. I would not vote for anything like this. And I think I better stop right there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Ms. Criddle.
I want to weigh in on this. This is a delicate thing. If we were out on the courthouse steps, that Luke and I might agree on this, but we're not, and we're in here in a different role. First of all, from my experience in Columbia, I don't think they care what we say. I don't think they care at all. In fact, I think that email would be deleted so fast that it would scare you. They didn't even open the attachment to look at what the resolution was. I'm concerned about voting about things that are not on our docket, that are not in our portfolio. And I don't want to tell somebody on council that they can't put something on the agenda. I want to be able to put things on the agenda myself, and I respect that right of every other council member. But I don't want to be weighing in every other Tuesday night on the great issues of the day. You know, I think that we've got a portfolio of services that we provide, and that we need to be all about Lawrence County, and that we have opinions about other things. We can write letters to the editor, and we can stand on the courthouse steps, and we can use whatever megaphones we have. I don't want to do that in these meetings. That's my personal view. It's not that I don't want somebody else to bring them in. They can do what they do, but I intend to vote against the resolution. And it's not in the sense that I disagree with the content of it. It has nothing to do with that. It just has to do with the idea that I want to deal with the issues that are before us and the services that we provide, the money that we raise, the money we spend, and the management that we're compelled to participate in. And I don't want to be involved in MSNBC, Fox News debate every about things that don't have anything to do with our portfolio of services.
Okay, Mr. Trill, if I may weigh in.
And I'm through with that.
If I may weigh in, I believe that the concerns of our citizens do concern each of every one of us up here. And if those are their concerns, then that is something I believe that we should address. And again, this is just a resolution. We're not going to be conducting an audit here in Lawrence County. That's not what this resolution is necessarily asking for. This is just saying that these are the concerns that our constituents have reached out to me about, and this is something that I'm going to do about it. Just to say, hey, I hear your concerns, and I'm going to address this. And while you might not feel comfortable with this being done locally at a county council level, again, I would go back and say that the concerns of our citizens do concern each and every one of us, because they're the people that we represent. And if they don't feel confident enough in their vote, they might not vote for you next time because they don't feel comfortable voting. Or they might not vote for me. It goes for every single one of us up here. And that's a bad place for the citizens of our county to be in, where they don't even feel like they should vote because they don't know what's going to happen to it. whether or not we agree or disagree with what happens with that vote, because we know the process, we know what Ms. Lynn West does in her office, they do an incredible job with it, but if people aren't confident in their vote, then that's a bad thing for everybody.
Any other council members?
Don't know that I'll have any sage advice for anybody on this. However, I agree in theory with integrity election 100%. Everything that's written in there, save if we're trying to pigeonhole this to there is something specific about the 2020 election in South Carolina where we think there were improprieties. I 100% believe there were no improprieties in Lawrence County. So I stand on that. Could there be somewhere? I don't know. Didn't hear of any in South Carolina. South Carolina wasn't a state that was brought up. There were other states that were in that had issues, and there were contests to be wrangled over. There were issues, and they did forensic audits. We didn't have that. We had pretty much assured that our election in South Carolina was done the way it has always been correctly. I don't want to cause strife between an otherwise pretty good lockstep council on most things that we take care of in the county. I don't disagree with anything here. I don't see that it's something we need to be waving, hey, this needs to be taken care of. Lawrence County thinks so, when I think there was nothing in Lawrence County that was improper. If the state decides they want to do a forensic audit, would I support that? Yes, because I think if they feel there's a need, I'll support it. I don't see the need in our county. I haven't been approached saying I'm not voting because it was improper. There are concerns in other places in the country. I get that. Just hadn't heard of here. And I don't want to be divisive on something that I have no control over. That's the only comments that I have.
Mr. Carroll, I'd like to just rebuttal and say that, again, I'm not calling for an audit of Lawrence County. I want to make that very clear. That is not what this is about. Again, I know Ms. Lynn West and her team, they do an incredible job. I am raising awareness of the fact that there are many people, you might not be in contact with as many people as I am. I'm the chairman of the Republican Party here in Lawrence County. I have conversations with people all across the state on a daily basis. That is kind of what I do. So I am more probably in touch with some of the more grassroots, I guess if you call it that, people, and they do have these legitimate concerns. And I feel like as a Lawrence County body, we are not asking and we're not disparaging anything that our local elections commission is doing. We're just asking for full transparency across the state in order to restore full integrity for the citizens of this state. And I do want to just make this, and maybe this would make it a little easier for everybody. There are plans right now. I know there are plans for a bill to be introduced in the State House in January called the REIN Act, REIN, which stands for Restore Election Integrity Now. And basically what that would do would audit the 3 largest counties in the state. And whatever they find from that, it might be nothing, and that's fine. If they audit the 3 largest counties in the state and nothing comes back, then that would be enough, I think, to suffice everybody, and everyone would be satisfied to know that their vote counts. This would be supporting something to that extent. And I feel like we could be a great starting off point to say, let's at least do this. We feel confident in Lawrence County that our elections were done incredibly fairly. Let's make sure that every other county in the state feels the same way.
Alderman Fiance.
I'm not really concerned with it at the local level. Of course, it could happen. But I'm deeply concerned at the state level, at the national level. And I think with this resolution, that's just letting them know we're watching. We're doing right. Regardless, Democrat, Republican, whatever. We're done right, done fair.
All right. I'd like to echo the comments by Ms. Anderson, Mr. Carroll, and Mr. Rankin already, and Ms. Johnson, that we do have the absolute best elections office in the state. here in Lawrence County, led by Ms. West and her team, along with support of her board, who do a lot of the physical work on election day. I've had the privilege, as any citizen has the opportunity to watch the process of the mail-in ballots and the running of the polls in the independent locations, as well as the return of the poll books at the end of the night. If you've never participated in that level, I would encourage you to do so, to watch the process and get to know it and how it actually works. It's quite a sight to see of how they count the ballots, and they open them, then they count them again, and they count them again, and they count them again. We have a phenomenal system in Lawrence County. With that being said, I have also been in other counties throughout the state, and I will say that they're not as efficient as we are here, and it's sad to see that. I definitely see the angle Mr. Rankin was going with this, but I have a amendment I'd like to propose, Mr. Rankin, if you would entertain it. I would like to see us in this resolution address audit of elections in general. That can include 2020, that can include 1996, that can include 2040. But I think at any time the legislator feels a need for an audit, I think we should support them in that and not pigeonhole ourselves into 2020 specifically. Would you be amenable to that amendment? Should I make it?
Probably not, and my reasoning for that is we only have 22 months from the 2020 election to do an audit. So you would not, in theory, be able to audit the 1996 election or 2016, et cetera.
All right, I was unaware of that. Thank you for that information. You're welcome. Would you be amenable to 2020 election or future elections?
Why would that be? Why is it so important to change the wording there?
Because I think that we should support any need for forensic audit if the legislator sees the need, whether it be this year, next year, or 5 years from now.
Okay, so to conduct a forensic audit into the 2020 election or
Any subsequent election thereafter.
okay, yeah, I'm okay with that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move to table.
All right, there's a motion on the floor to table.
I'll second.
What, Mr. Chairman, there was already a motion on the floor.
That's the
Table,
first.
table.
That's a superior motion, second by Mr. Anderson, Ms. Anderson. Is there any discussion on the table?
Why in the world would we table it if we can just settle this right here and now? This is what is pressing on our citizens as we head into a very controversial 2022 election. What would be the point of tabling this?
What would be the point in passing this? I do not, the state of South Carolina, the legislative body is the one decide whether they want to do a forensic audit or not. It's not up to us to make that. It's not even up, if you want to talk to your representative or your delegation about how you feel, you have a right to do that. And anybody else, but this is not something we are supposed to be about. And we can't hear somebody tell you to go out here and jump off this cliff, because I think this is the way for you to get that pain out of your back, and you go ahead on and jump off the cliff and you pass on away. But you gonna just do everything somebody tell you to do? Some things we need to think about. And I know some citizens in this county who just disagree totally with you. And that's why you did, and I wanna know why.
Motion to table is in favor.
I thought it was, but
I don't think it is.
well, regardless, we've had a little discussion about this, Anderson. I'll cut you off at the moment. I will call, so the current motion is to table the resolution before us. All those in favor of tabling the resolution, please raise your right hand. All those opposed? Motion to table 4-3. All right, next we'll move into resolution 2021-68C, an additional resolution for Project Plate. I'll call on Mr. Coleman from the Lawrence County Development Corporation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and council. And while I'm up here, this is ordinance 911, which is 2 down, so I'll just, that's the fee of the ordinance to go with the inducement resolution. But this is kind of a first, it's a first since 2008 when I came to work with the development corporation. But we've got a private developer that's looking to build a 300,000 square foot spec building in the Woodfield Industrial Park. This will be the first one, like I said, since 2008. LCDC or the co-op or another funding partner has not had to put any money in other than this FILO ordinance. The reason why we're doing the FILO ordinance now is once they get the building built and the tenant goes in it, it's on the tax rolls, so you're gonna do the FILO with the building before the tenant goes in, because once it's built, then they can't retroactively put the building into the FILO like you would a normal project that's building a field site. So it's the total investment for the building alone is just over $17 million. Like I said, their plans are to build start at 300,000 square foot and then expand.
It also leaves the opportunity open for a business that comes in to be able to tag on to the benefits that are there being in a multi-county park and being in a field.
Basically, this is just proactively setting a stage for somebody to go into the building.
Absolutely.
So, once they are complete, we're going to plan for them to be successful. So once they complete the building, bring in the tenant, would we come back with a new FILO, or would it just automatically roll in?
We would probably treat them, it would be similar to the Ganotech one we did earlier this year, where the owner of the building has a separate agreement than the manufacturer themselves with their capital.
All right.
But just with this ordinance, just with this deal, the building itself will pay over $8 million over the life of the agreement. That's just on the building. So if they bring in, say, $20 million in equipment, that's obviously going.
Awesome.
And it's right at $340,000 a year for years 10 to 30.
All right, you've heard the recommendation by Mr. Coleman. Does anybody have any questions on this resolution? Here now, I'll call for a motion for resolution 2021-68-C, inducement resolution project complete.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Turtle, second by Ms. Anderson. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Coleman. All right, next we have resolution 2021-67C, which is the proclaiming October 2021 as Disability Employment Awareness Month. And I would like to call on Mr. Higgs to read that resolution and give us an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is resolution number 2021-67C, a resolution of Lawrence County Council to proclaim the month of October 2021 as Disability Employment Awareness Month. Whereas Lawrence County residents with disabilities have the same aspirations to competitively work and contribute to their communities as everyone else. Whereas business and community leaders have called for a diverse and capable workforce to further advance the economy of Lawrence County. And whereas the support and cooperation of all people are needed to reduce the attitudinal and physical barriers that hinder full acceptance of people with disabilities and their rightful place of employment. And whereas employment first, that employment in general workforce is the first and preferred outcome in the provision of publicly funded services for all working age citizens with disabilities, regardless of level of disability, and implemented in all areas of service provision and delivery for people with disabilities. And whereas National Disability Employment Awareness Month recognizes that individuals with disabilities are capable and contributing members of society worthy of full access and inclusion in Lawrence County's workforce. Now, therefore, it be a resolve and moral purpose that the purpose of this resolution is to proclaim the month of October 2021 as Disability Employment Awareness Month. Number 2, action. Lawrence County Council proclaims October 2021 as Disability Awareness Month in Lawrence County, South Carolina, and encourages the citizens of Lawrence County to work together to advance the message that people with disabilities are equal to the task. Number 3, authority. Lawrence County Council is authorized to take such actions pursuant to the powers designated and delegated to the county in Title 4 and Title 6 of South Carolina Code of Laws 16-376 as amended. Number 4, conflict. All orders and resolutions in conflict herewith, to the extent of such conflict only, are repealed and rescinded. Number 5, severability. Should any part or portion of this resolution be deemed unconstitutional or otherwise unenforceable by any court of competent jurisdiction, such finding shall not affect the remainder hereof, and all of which is hereby deemed severable. And number 6, effective date. This resolution shall take effect and be in force immediately upon the enactment of the majority of this county council.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Do you have announcements you want to make too, Mr. Diggs?
Yes, sir. I'll be glad to make that announcement. We have a special guest with us tonight. Mr. Tavener is here. And he is going to come forward and I believe give some remarks if accepted by the council.
Absolutely.
Good afternoon. I have one of my board members, Dr. Peter Littlefield, if that's okay. We want to say thank you to council for this proclamation. One line in there, employment first, something that we've been teaching the people that we support for a while now. We've helped them embrace that when we think about services, that's the first question that we ask. In this proclamation and now by county council's actions, you're helping us along that line to make sure the community says yes. Employment first for people with disabilities is something that we should be thinking about for everyone. Excited to work with Mr. Bolden and Mr. Hicks on opportunities for the people that we support to begin working for the county. We're excited to move forward with that. Thank you for that reach out there. I do want to mention we do have one or two now already working with our Parks and Rec. They've been contributing and helping in that regard. So we're looking forward to growing it. Thank you. And thank you yesterday, Mr. Chairman, for being at our event that was championed by Ms. Short here, Ms. Carolyn Short, and Jody Pennell with the School District 55 helped us plan an effort. And you spoke there, and in that effort, I appreciate you saying out loud what the county's commitment is to helping us. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. I would like, do you have anything to fulfill?
I just want to say for all of your support over the years, it's been fabulous, and we are really seeing a good turnaround in ZF Industries, and things are picking up for us, and that wouldn't have happened without you all.
Thank you. I'd also like to call Ms. Short and Mr. Penland if he desires.
Tell you the truth, this is a collaboration effort. So I do have some comments with our assistant superintendent to represent us and say thank you. That's what
as part of our district, Arts 55, we do very much work on transitioning our kids into employment. So this support that you're going to do today very much puts our kids on the track to become employable, and very much appreciate you.
thank you for being here yesterday as well, and also Councilman Clark. Thank you, appreciate that.
Thank you all.
I had an opportunity today to go to, not today, but Monday, to go to City Hall in Clinton. And I was looking for Ashley Rochester's office. And so I walked in and I really didn't know exactly what office she was in. So Jerome, and I can't remember Jerome's last name right now. He said, she's over at the utility building.
It's Jerome James.
Jerome James. So he made sure he knew who I was talking about, and he also knew the location of the person who I was looking for. And that wasn't really was good for me, because basically, you know, very few people in the offices nowadays, especially with yesterday being a holiday. So he pointed me in the right direction.
I just want to say something from the bottom of my heart. This resolution really means a lot. It does. It represents Lawrence County. And that's what District 56 and 55, as well as VR, vocational rehabilitation, and I must say DDSE. Thank you. This really means a lot. It touches our hearts, because we want Lawrence County to be very best and to let the world and national know that we come together to let every citizen know and every business and industry know that we want our disabilities and special needs children to have an opportunity. There's one fact It says, when our children have experiences of work, more than likely, it's national data, they will be employed. And so you all have touched all of our hearts and support the leadership. Thank you so very much for doing this. It really touches all of our hearts.
Well, thank you. Y'all are the ones that put in the hard work and the effort. This part of it's easy. And I would like to say, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, y'all made a commercial. I can't remember which entity made it. But the thing with the commercial is don't tell me what I can't do, let me show you what I can do. And rarely a day goes by that doesn't play through my head as I'm going through my day. So everything you do touches all of our lives in some way or fashion. So all that being said, I will personally make the motion to pass resolution 2021-67C. And I will call for a second.
Second.
I heard Ms. Clark. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say before we call for the vote? Hearing nothing, I will call for the vote for approval of resolution 2021-67C to proclaim the month of October as Disability Employment Awareness Month. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you all again. All right, next we will have, assuming it's first reading approval, Sandy.
Yes.
First reading approval of ordinance 911 Project Plate. This is the PILO agreement to go along with the resolution 68C we passed just a few minutes ago. Do I have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of ordinance 911 for its first reading.
A motion by Ms. Anderson. Second by Mr. Carroll. Is there any discussion? Here now, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving ordinance 911 Project Plate on first reading, please raise your right hand. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. All right, next, as the usual this time of year, we discuss our November and December meetings. This year, we're coming up on reapportionments. And we've been requested by the South Carolina Department of Fiscal Affairs to let them come meet with us on November 23rd, which is it's the fourth Tuesday, which is when we would have normally a regular meeting if we did not cancel it. I would like council to have a discussion at this time on, they'd like to proceed with that 23rd meeting so that we can hear from Fiscal Affairs staff, or if they would like to cancel both the December and November meeting.
Mr. Chair, I know we've already, for the November the 23rd meeting, since the demographer and the state of South Carolina had to come and present to us the information that they need to provide for us to start with the redistricting process, that we have that meeting that's open to the public for 30 minutes, and then we have a work session afterwards. There's a couple of things that we really need to get straightened out, some funds with some American Rescue Plan and some other things that we would like to see put in place that we haven't had an opportunity to do. So I would like for that meeting to be split in that way if we can do that.
All right. Any other member of the council have any comments on the meeting schedule? First, is anybody opposed to the cancellation of the December 28th meeting? All right, do I have a motion to cancel the scheduled council meeting on December 28th?
Motion to cancel meeting on December 28th.
Motion on the table. Second by Ms. Clark. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. All right, so that concludes our business. I would like to go ahead and instruct Mr. Higgs for the November 23rd meeting. We will have regular session at 5:30 as usual. Please keep all business to a minimum that isn't necessarily. Anderson has requested 30 minutes. That will be followed immediately by a call work session to discuss anything else with fiscal affairs and to go over some ARPA funds at that time. Thank you, sir. All right, next we will move into public comments. We have one sign this evening, Mr. Littlefield.
Council, Mr. Yance. I want to put out some comments about the proposed RV park. We live in the northern corner of Lawrence County. We experience theft and trespassing. Police respond as best they can, but often not in a time to catch anyone. RV tenants are not background checked as typical homeowners are. The RV park is landlocked with no access to the Erie River except through our properties. We are opposed to this RV park because it brings additional source of temporary people far from Lawrence County Police Headquarters, especially since we already have a theft problem. My whole reading is about 3 minutes, just going to tell you. Number two is there are no mobile homes in our neighborhood. We feel that the presence of an RV park will be a factor in the potential future and current values of our properties. Number three, looking at this proposal, although it does not say up to six, it does say up to 6 RV spots. We do not see any restrictions that would preclude the expanding of this RV park to more spaces that include day and night, day and weekend camping as the campsite currently advertises. All this could, in our opinion, be very detrimental to the environment and pristine nature of these woods, as well as the values of our property in our neighborhood. 4, the closest fire department is about 2.5 miles away. Durbin Creek is an unmanned volunteer fire department. The woods get very dry and we are very careful with fire. This RV park with camping lends itself to outside campfires and cooking fires. The entire RV park will be behind the existing wood line and therefore close to the woods. There is very little emergency vehicle passage within these woods to the rear of the proposed RV park. We cannot be sure that the RV park tenants will be as careful with fire as is necessary in this environment. The bottom line is there is no zoning in Lawrence County, so our only option is to go before the Planning Commission and County Council. The ordinances of both councils have wording to protect the land values. The County Council ordinance states promote public health, safety, morals, convenience, prosperity, or general welfare. The RV ordinance states to minimize any adverse effects to said properties physically, psychologically, to provide a sound, orderly, and healthy environment. As for the specific wording in your guiding ordinances, both councils have the ability to deny this RV park whether the owner meets all requirements or not. Thank you very much. I appreciate your attention.
Thank you, sir. All right, next we'll move into county council comments. I'll start on my right with Ms. Clark.
Just want to thank everybody for supporting me and congratulating me and welcoming me. I think the council and the citizen of Lawrence County.
Thank you. Mr. Rankin.
Thank you. I just want to thank the Disability and Special Needs Board for being here tonight. Thank you guys for all that you guys do. I know several people in Lawrence County that have special needs and disabilities, and just the comments that they talked to me about what you guys do for them was very encouraging. And man, I tell you what, I can't believe sometimes the best people you will ever meet are those people with special needs. And I know a couple I can think of offhand right now that they light my world up. And I think if everyone just takes an extra moment sometimes just to be extra kind to people like that. I mean, they got a tough life, and sometimes they have the biggest hearts of anybody. So I just thank you guys for all you guys do for our community very much. Obviously, I'm a little sad my resolution did not get passed tonight. I won't go back and forth with that again. I do feel like it's important, and to table it, in my opinion, is a bit of a cheap shot because you won't have to vote on it. But what's the point of tabling it if we're not going to vote for it next time? This will not be the last time I'll bring it up. I think it's important enough that we need to bring it up again. But that is all I have tonight. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Pro. Mr. Giannis. Ms. Anderson.
Today, watched television for a second. I heard I know we got a national day for everything, but today is National Farmers Day. And so I want to appreciate the farmers here in Lawrence County for what they do. I know the Farm Bureau and the Clemson Extension Service, I know all those individuals are very helpful with the farming. We have a lot of farming here. I cannot remember the percentage, but I know we have chicken farms and we have beef cattle and we have peach growers, and really it is a source of our food. It is a source of our sustenance. And without food, we cannot live. So I want to thank them for the hard work. I know through technology, it's made it a lot easier for them. But I think, and we also have a dairy. And I remember things, people used to get up early in the morning and get started, but now you have a milking machine. So we got all kinds of different things to help out. But though, if anybody in the audience who is a farmer, I like to say happy Farmers Day to you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson, for bringing that up. I have family members in this county that are in agriculture and farming, so that's awesome. We are thankful for them. Also, my daughter is a trained special education teacher, and my wife works at the high school with, has some interaction with special needs children as well, and so it's super important to them. It's a special place in their hearts, so it's also great to pass this resolution.
I'll also echo on the Farmer's Day. For your statistic, about 76% of the county is timberland, forestry ag, and then the remaining ag adds up to 91% of acreage in Lawrence County, which is a drastic number when you think about 724 square miles, and 91% of it is agricultural in some form or fashion. Also, once again, thank you to all those who work in the disability and special needs arena, whether it be on the school level or with the industrial level. At the event, Ms. Short planned yesterday, it was great to see all of our industries in the county, from look big to small, who were there. I think ZF employees, folks from Disability and Special Needs Board in the double digits. It's amazing to see how excited one of the comments they made. They won the award for the county this year for, and one of their comments was that they are the most loyal workers they have are the ones they receive from Disability and Special Needs agencies to help them in their daily jobs. So it was just great to see that support from our industries that are buying back into our community, as well as both school districts. One of my comments I made was the collaborative effort of all the entities across the county working together. We have some here at the county looking to do some more. I know the cities are both using some workers as well. So it's just great to see all the benefits that come from that. With that being said, it looks like we have one matter for executive session, human resources and employment matter. It is 6:34. I'll call for motion to enter executive session.
Mr. Chairman, I know you're doing the executive session for an employment matter.
I have a motion by Ms. Anderson, second by Mr. Carroll. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0. We will convene an executive session at 6:40.
There's a lot of people struggling getting up now, but I just.
All right, the time is now 7:13. Council be called back in open session. Council met in executive session discussing resource matters or employment matters. No motions or votes were taken in executive session. Are there any motions that need to be made in open session? Here none, I'll call for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Carroll. Second by Ms. Anderson. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. 7-0.
They don't want to go home tonight.
Nobody wants to say.
Ten. Betty and I voted in favor of the motion, so we